Welcome to the RAPCAST, episode 2. We're going to talk about the mental palace. We're going to break down first, though, a song of mine called Anxiety. Here's some of the lyrics. This will be the second verse. Some people were asking about storytelling, and I figured the best way to talk about storytelling is to tell a story with some of my lyrics and actually give an example, right? Can't afford to have another kid. She done had 4 and they're motherless. Now she's at war with the government. I've been a tribe more than a covenant. And I'm telling her, but just hope she ain't selling her for that dope. She say, well, the worth of that coat of that Novocaine. So I cope. Whether I show my pain if I don't. Oh, nothing change the door, no. Oh, fuck is changing for a blow. Ho, and puff is changing, they vote. Yo, love is dangerous, I know. And my cuss contagious, psycho. But I must have made it my go, for the stuff that made me high-low. She didn't give her heart to this hell, to the trailer park and shit scales, to the sailor market quick thrills, see the stuff that I not to get well. Well, there was never a God to get bail. Whenever she shot, she just failed. So she said for the shot, she impaled. To the devil was out, she in hell. Yeah. She can't afford to have another kid. She done had 4 and they're motherless. At war with the government. I've been a tribe more than a covenant. Start painting the picture. Start breaking it down, talking about if you can have sights, if you can have emotions, if you can have a sense of smell, like Slick Rick would talk about whenever he would tell a story about being at a barbecue in the park, smelling the chicken, smelling the grass, and you can hear the wind blowing, you see the birds, you hear the bees, whatever it is that you can draw on something that will have the audience paint a picture in their own head, that they can use that image to better remember your own shit, then that helps both of you. And that paints a much more vivid and more descriptive and more beautiful image. So, even if the song has some darker emotional shit like can't afford to have another kid, whatever, you can use positive, negative, you can use conjunctual emotion and just break that down. That'll be the tip of the day. That was the second verse of Anxiety. Y'all check it out. So we're talking about anxiety. I figured, why not give some tips for anxiety breath work? Why not talk about some things that help whenever I'm going through an anxious phase? Whenever my heart's racing, whenever I feel like I have to be urgent and rushing, doing something, and I know to slow down or I need to slow down, and I need to remind myself. Some of the things I do are box breathing. I will do a 2-1 method of breathing, which is what I call it. I will show you guys all these different examples and give this as a clip, and we'll throw this on the podcast episode as well. So when it comes to anxiety breath work, and when it comes to stress management, when it comes to slaying the stress dragon, the fucking dreaded jaws of failure, of performing to the standards you set for yourself, when it comes to some people, then they feel the need to rush, right? You have to calm down, you have to relax, and you have to focus steadily. Now, box breathing, for example, box having 4 corners, you would breathe in, say 5 seconds, breathe in for 5 seconds, hold that for 5 seconds, breathe out for 5 seconds, don't breathe for 5 seconds, breathe in for 5 seconds, hold for 5 seconds, breathe out for 5 seconds, don't breathe for 5 seconds. Keep increasing the number, going around with it. Try to breathe from the bottom of your stomach. Whenever you're a dude, I'm saying breathe from your fucking nutsack. You want to feel it. You can open up your lungs at the top of it, whatever you need to do, but you want to expand. You want to put your hand in front of your stomach to where you have to press out with your stomach in order to reach your hands, whatever it is, to make you force a deep breath from the bottom of your lungs, from the bottom of your belly, where you're intended to breathe from. That helps tremendously when it comes to anxiety. The 2-1 method being 2 breaths out, 1 breath in. This is best done through the nose. I know Wim Hof says through whatever hole, but certain chemistry is released through the nose that isn't released through the mouth. Vice versa, depending on the situation, depending upon what you're trying to release at that particular moment. I feel as if there are different techniques. That's just my opinion. These are not the most expert or the best or the most definitive findings. These are just my findings. Standard disclaimer. Anyways, 2 through the nose, 1 through the mouth, 2 out, 1 in. I'm not going to keep breathing in your guys' ears. You get the point. That's breathwork for anxiety. These rounds, and in between the rounds, find something that calms you, whether that is dropping water from a dropper or watching something like a desktop waterfall, whether that's seeing a bird outside, whether you're watching a flower in the wind, whatever it is. Maybe just reach over and finger paint some. Don't take life too serious. Have a good time, release the stress, do something that you can get your mind off of the task at hand, take a second to breathe, and then get back into breathing. I'd like to give a shout out to Nick and Nate Diaz, Game Up Nutrition, coming through with the beautiful pre-rolled CBD joints. This was a gift from my brother. Check this out, guys. Got the raw, completely legal, 100% organic. Shout out to Nick and Nate Diaz coming through with the Frosted Lime 4-pack. Y'all, Game Up Nutrition. Check them out. Also, Rocky Ridge Hemp coming through with the CBD full spectrum 250 milligram hemp drops. Kentucky proud. We're calling this episode the Mental Palace. We're calling it that because the memory technique that the 3-time in a row mental champion uses, and several of the world memory champions, guys who are renowned for having the best memory in the world, use this technique. You can describe your house. If I was to talk about mine, for example, the house I live in, front door being the first object, you'll number different pieces of furniture, right? 10 pieces of furniture. The front door being the first, a lamp to the right of the door being the second, and then a bar being the third. Okay? If you're going to remember 3 different things, you would place an image at the front door, an image at the lamp, and an image at the bar. Whatever you are trying to remember, say it's a deck of cards, say it's a pattern, say it's some people's names. You can put something like, using the first 2 presidents, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, I would say, put a washing machine at the front door. You have a washing machine at the front door. The front door is the lid to a washing machine, right? On the lamp are Jeff and his son. Washington, Jefferson. Washing machine, Jeff and his son. You can go and assign a different piece of furniture to a different image or code or name or number, and once you get these down in a series, you'll be able to recall things much quicker. I've used the technique earlier today actually as a test, as writing an article. I had all the different points for the article spread out upon various pieces of furniture in the Mental Palace. Y'all check out Valuetainment Mental Palaces. So they're having Logan Paul versus Floyd Mayweather, and Jake Paul's calling out Dylan Dennis, Conor McGregor, and Michael the fucking Count Bisping, because he apparently has a death wish. We'll get into that. Floyd versus his older brother Logan, though. How is this going to go? Sure, Logan's taller. Yeah, he's 190 pounds. Maybe 6'2". Floyd Mayweather is a much smaller man, but he's Floyd freaking Mayweather, the greatest defensive boxer, and pound for pound, skill for skill, the greatest boxer of all time. You can dispute, you can debate, you can put Sugar Ray, you can say Lomachenko for some people at a certain point, Mike Tyson when he was at a specific level. Maybe you're saying Tyson Fury. I'm not sure. Floyd Mayweather, hands down, at the game of boxing, is the best player. Now, you have someone who is 1-1, I think, as an amateur, or perhaps they were counted as professional. Regardless, he's never fought against anybody. He's never boxed against, rather. Because I hate when people call boxing a fight, because it's not. It's a fucking boxing match. You can't elbow, can't knee. It's not a fight. We're not going to discuss why boxing isn't as cool as MMA, though. That's for another episode. We're talking about if Floyd and Logan were to do an MMA match, Logan Paul having a background in wrestling, being a much bigger man, maybe he wins that. Maybe he can stop Floyd. Maybe he can keep him at the end of his kicks or shoot a takedown, hold Floyd down and dominate him on the ground. Who knows what Floyd's guard game is? Nobody knows how the jiu-jitsu game of Floyd Mayweather is. You have to forgive me. Bit the hell out of my tongue. Had a couple of seizure problems. We're going through that, getting that. That's another story. So bear with me when it comes to the enunciation and pronunciation of some of these words here. Anyways, Jake Paul, Conor McGregor. Jake Paul doesn't get past Dylan Danielson in an MMA fight, but he might in a boxing match. I don't know. You saw what he did to Nate Robinson. Dylan Danielson isn't Nate Robinson, but he could be close. Dylan does train with Conor, so perhaps he has some kind of pedigree in striking. We're not sure. We haven't seen it. It's yet to be tested. Michael Bisping, however, on the Believe You Me podcast. Y'all check out the Believe You Me podcast, and if you're into MMA podcasts, Below the Belt with Brendan Schaub and Food Truck Diaries. Brendan Schaub's Food Truck Diaries and Below the Belt. Michael Bisping and Louis J. Gomez, Believe You Me podcast. Believe You Me was the first podcast to play my music. Y'all check that episode out. Link in the description below. Anyways, Bisping said that he was offered through his management by Logan Paul's brother Jake's management a contract. Who knows how it's going to be. Some kind of amateur boxing 6-round thing. I don't know. It's not going out of the first round. Bisping takes his head off. You heard it here first.